Hello, love. Welcome home to Eden. This is Eve Christoph, offering you a rare glimpse at sexual divinity and the sacred truth of women. You know, in the end, in the beginning, there was the garden. And in the garden, there was fruit and there was vegetables and there was eating together and probably eating each other. But the thing is, we've gotten so removed from the fresh food of the garden and what that did for our sexuality, to be so alive, to be so turned on by nature. And I've been finding myself bogged down by my own eating. It takes a lot of time. It's a lot of my focus. And I started, researching for diets a long time ago, and I go on and off different diets, and it's great when I lose weight because I usually don't eat very much during those diets, and I find that my energy is much higher when I'm not eating. But then I get engaged more in life when I'm not eating as much. And then winter comes along and food just takes over as what life is all about. And I'm not happy about that right now. So I was trying to, get my mind more alive and intense, finding that my kundalini just feels like so profoundly calling me to go within, so fully, effulgently fulfilling when I meditate. And then in daily life, I'm just like not very involved with daily life. Sometimes I just want to hide away and meditate. So in the journey to become more aware and more grateful and more part of such a beautiful existence, I'm curious about diet and other things about the mind and how our mind influences everything that happens to us. So I started looking into Nassim Haramein's work about quantum physics. And as I started to really listen to him, I was very moved by one of the experiences he shares, where he says that he's been downloading all this magical information since he was very small, and 10 years old, I guess. And eventually, he's just like longing to just have full on time with that experience of downloading from the universe. So he goes rock climbing. He actually moves into his van and he decides he wants to eat as little as possible. He doesn't want to work. So he's just going to do an experiment to see how much he can save money by not eating, so that he can really just receive from the universe and be out in nature, rock climbing every day. And as he does this, he starts to experience that his hunger isn't there anyway. And so he's drinking water, he's eating a little, and then after a while, he's just like a couple days doesn't eat, notices that his hunger doesn't come back, and he figures, well, I'll just wait till it comes back, and I won't eat until then. And it goes on 2 years before he's still not eating, and even by the end of the second year, he's not even doing water. So I don't know if you believe this, but when I heard it, he's such a credible person, Nassim Haramein is probably going to win a Nobel Peace Prize at some point for solving all of these equations of Einstein's that were just unresolved, but that from a completely different standpoint with different assumptions, all the numbers line up like exactly on all these theories. So Nassim is such a credible person. I was like, he wouldn't be lying. Why would he be lying? So as soon as I saw the video on him, his breatharian experience, all these other people started popping up, of course, on my thread, who are also breatharians. And I started following them and listening to these stories. And you are going to be blown away as much as I am if you listen to them. I mean, there's Ray Mayor and Akai and Camila and Yasmuhin, Elitom, Elomin. Basically, these people, they're all from all over the world, different time frames. I mean, it was 20 years ago, Yasmuhin discovered she didn't need to eat anymore. A lot of these people have in the last 10 years, started a whole lifestyle around pranic living, so it's not like So it's like, yeah, they don't eat. They don't have to have food. They have water and liquids, a lot of them, but many of them just randomly stop doing liquids too when they want, and they are sustained by what? The universe, prana, love? We don't know. It's such an amazing question, but I just thought how freed up I would be if I could eat less, if I could just take in more prana and be more divinely inspired by eating the sunlight, eating the air, eating the loving interactions I have. And so I'm actually in my preparations for what they call the Breatharian initiation. And I don't know where it's going to lead me, but I know that my calling is to be more hooked into source and that divine energy that's sustaining all of us, and the concept that maybe we actually are self-sustaining and we just never have known it. Why do some people starve when they don't eat mostly? Why has that always been the case? Well, maybe theories, maybe we're evolving. Maybe ascension is actually something going to happen here on the planet rather than when we die. That's a new wave coming along with all of the planetary climate changes. Maybe all along, if you are well fed, well nourished, hooked into spirit and source and love, it's different to not eat than if you're starving in a war or in an area where people are scared and terrified for their lives. Maybe there's been breatharians all along, in these other countries. Like, how have these people survived when they're, without food and without water for so long? Not that we don't want to address this. Of course, we want to create a planet where all resources are shared, all food is shared, all nations care for one another. But the breatharian journey solves a lot of that. If we've come to a point where we don't actually have to eat very much or anything at all, as a species, this changes the story of the decimation of the planet and the rape of the earth, because all this whole idea that we've got to do that, for we've got to have our resources every hour, every minute of every day. If that's not true, we really can create an all new society, right? Oh my goodness. Am I tripping you out? I'm tripping me out. They tripped me out first, so it's them that started it. But I had a dream. About 10 years ago, or longer, no, 15, 20 years ago. Wow. I had a dream that the axis of the planet had shifted. And when the planet shifted its axis, the waters of the planet started to flow in a different direction than they had been flowing. And this meant that the fluids in people's brains actually started to flow into new chambers of our brains than we had ever experienced before. And in the dream, those chambers were chambers of the mind's capacity for pure love, total oneness consciousness, divinity and source connection within oneself. Whoa, right? So in the dream, everything turns blue. Just there's this huge flash of the sky. Everything looks blue for a time period as the axis shifts. And then when the waters shift, they also start flooding parts of the land where people can no longer live anymore. And as people start moving up to higher land, higher mountains, they realize there's only one thing that they're really missing, one thing that they wish they had, and that's seeds for organic farming. Backpacks full of seeds. And so in the dream, I had a backpack full of seeds that I was carrying to higher ground. So who knows, maybe it's just all metaphor, but certainly the truth of our access shifting, there's something real about that going on. And there's something real about organic seeds really needing to be preserved right now. But also, if you don't have to depend on that terror over, have I grown a garden, have I hunted and killed an animal, do I have a job to make me enough money for enough food, for a refrigerator and a stove and all these things to keep them going, freedom opening up with less food eating and more liquids and more waters and more soups and, oh my goodness, what would you do with your life if you had a whole lot more time on your hand? Apparently, according to these breatharians, I've been following a lot of them because many of them are leading breatharian retreats and initiations like the one I'm going to in Costa Rica with Akai and Camila. Kamai, it's the two of them together. They are creating a way in which within 8 to 10 days, they say that your body makes the transition into actually just not being hungry anymore, just not even feeling hunger when you do it in the right way, not just sitting around starving yourself. There's a very strong process for how they work with the mind, the breath, sun gazing, law of attraction, law of intention, meditation, all kinds of things that are hooking you into prana. So it's not about not eating, it's about eating more, but of more of life, right? and facing your fears, depressions, the ways in which we refuse to eat more of life, refuse to hook into the pranic source energy with our hearts, with our love, with our own ability to find that source place within ourselves. That's what they're all talking about. So I'm so fascinated because they're all over the world now, all different ages, men, women, different races. They're all saying the same thing. There's estimating about 150,000 of these breatharians now are in existence. From all the workshops, after they go to the workshops, many of them are reporting 9 months later, still not having eaten anything. I'm posting on my Facebook page one of the favorite conglomeration video of a bunch of them talking, all on one thread. So wish me magic, wish me the kind of grounding that is amplified connection with the earth and the source of all. I wish that for you. And as I go on this journey, may I blaze a trail for your heroic, exciting adventures, whatever they are, whatever you're drawn to, may you follow your heart, even if it looks like it's in a crazy direction. I shouldn't post this video because so many people are going to get scared for me and they're going to be like, you shouldn't do that. Yeah, well, you shouldn't do what you want to do either. Anything you're really called to do is probably a hoax. And you know what else? It's gonna make you sick and die early. Think about the way our thoughts work with anything we want to do in life. Any magical adventure you want, there's gonna be this whole series of thoughts why you can't do it. I was just doing that today because I'm trying to clear out my spirit for a new relationship with food and water, right? And air and breath and prana. And I notice with all the things that I want, like being more of an artist, really doing my art more, there's these thoughts like, well, you don't have the supplies and you'll never get them because they cost money and you'll never earn enough. And when you really look and listen to the voice and what it's saying, it's a nasty little nerd. It's a miser voice, It's the voice of somebody who, if they were hanging out in your kitchen, you would kick them out. You would be like, I don't want to spend any more time with you. You're really, really obnoxiously negative. So, when I hear those voices and the trick is hearing the voice accurately, really becoming aware that it's going on and getting to the place where you can go, that's you again. No, I'm the one gonna speak here. I'm the one gonna decide this train of thought, right? So we come to the negative thoughts that are in your way of your magical adventure. And I want you to respect them at first, right? Because we need to grieve. We need to honor our grief. First, you got to feel that negativity, feel it. Because that whole thing about taking those medicines so you never have to feel depression and you can function. The trouble is, it's the breaking down into the depression and then those really upsetting feelings of anger and rage and depression and boredom. When you break down, when you have that nervous breakdown, or you get that sick or that angry, that frustrated, that's when your soul is speaking to you and guiding you in a whole new direction. If you take drugs to cover those feelings, the happy little pills of Prozac, whatever's, what happens is you're suppressing all of your guidance, and now you're going in the wrong direction or no direction because you can't. The pain of the discomfort is what makes you drop certain habits, change certain patterns, leave that job, divorce that person, move to a new area. It's that discomfort. If you don't have the discomfort, then you just put up on and on and on with the thing that your soul knows is your soul is dying. You're not connected to life source and prana, right? As you know you can be. So, but then the trick is the negativity can completely take away your power to act and believe in yourself if you start believing in the negative voice, if you let it run the show. So its only job is to complain like a little kid, to let you know, I'm miserable, I hate this, right? As soon as you like a good parent to yourself, you go, oh, I hear you. Why do you hate this? A bad parent says to their kid, you should like that thing you hate. You should do more of that. I'm going to make you eat that. You have to do this. And that's a bad parent. And we do that to ourselves all the time. But a good parent says, tell me, why do you hate that? What's going on? What's it really about? What do you want? So you start taking the information where you don't want to be, and you ask, okay, what is the lifestyle you want? Where do you want to go? What's the deal with that, right? What's the deal with, if you don't want like this and that, you're not allowed to just stay there like, I don't like it, like that's our baby self. You're going to move into, well, I don't like it, and what I want is, and where I'm going to go is, and the work I'm going to do is, and my trajectory is. Now we get overwhelmed. Now we're like, oh no, I have to do this. I have to take responsibility for my life. I have to actually be the one. Oh, yeah, but this is where, when you move in a new direction, you just call in the universe, okay? The universal power that's sustaining this gigantic story of these mountains. And I don't know if you can see out there, but there's a mountain. It's called Deer Mountain. Oh, you can't see it. Well, you hook into that universal power, okay? And you say, help me. I am going in this direction of changing my whole life with where I live, what I do for a job, or whatever it is, or my diet for me, with how I relate with the prana of the universe. But I'm scared. I don't feel like I have the strength. Help me, universe. Help me, divine love. Help me, do it for me, do it with me. I mean, I feel so, my mom and I were laughing about this because my mother had so many problems related to her house this month. I mean, the last 10 years with her house breaking and her house falling down, and her underneath her the floors giving way and the pipes freezing, and the mortgage so high she couldn't ever retire, and I just didn't have enough money to help her, and I was feeling so helpless. And the last time I was there, and all of her belongings, they didn't have enough room for her beautiful book collection, so they were in piles and hard for her to. It was just so many difficult things about this house, but she loves the rocks, the sacred mountain there, and she would never want to leave her town and her village. And I just left, a couple weeks back, I left her house, and I was just feeling like, God, help her. Let me win the lottery to build her a new house, or or give her a miracle, please, because the only thing I can see that could help her would be like if this house just didn't exist anymore, if she just had a new start, you know. And I even had the thought, gosh, a fire would be a blessing in this situation, because these fumes were pouring into her house from the exhaust from her heater somehow. It was making a terrible smell in the house. So hard for her to breathe in there. And I kept going, Mom, I want to fix this. Let me pay for this. And she'd be like, no, it's too much for me. I can't handle any new changes. And I was just like, she's gonna kill herself by that heater in there. God, help her. Please help. And it was the very next day, basically, the house burned down. Whole house burned down. Yeah. All those problems wiped out in one fell swoop. Everything. And now, of course, it's another problem. Like, she's trying to find her a place to live and trying to build her another, existence. But when you ask the universe for help, be ready for the universe doing it in its own way and everything being way better than you imagined it. Because at first, of course, my mom was so heartbroken over her pets. She lost 4 pets in this tragic fire, but she wasn't there. She was spared. She would have died fighting to save her pets, I know, if she had been there, So, those pets died, but they were all also pretty sick. That most of them were taking all of her money trying to heal her pets. She didn't have any money left for herself to take care of herself. So the pets were ready to transition. Actually, that night that I walked out the door in that wet mood, one of her pets told me goodbye. I heard her say, goodbye, I'm done. She had cancer, And so here you go. My mom's life now is turning into a miracle because all these women have come around, and all of these Facebook friends have been showing up to show her their love, to help her out, to donate things. Her house got, bulldozed. It's no longer there. But in the end, she owns the land with no mortgage now instead of a torturous mortgage. So, who knows? Maybe the universe has in mind that that we're gonna raise funds and she's gonna have a little house on there with no mortgage, and she'll be able to retire. That was the prayer I had going for months on end. Let my mom retire. Show me the way to support her to retire. But the universe, and I thought it was going to be making my solar work so strong, so fast that I could just shower her with money. But instead, the universe is like, nah, we need to make this happen sooner than that. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about your pranic initiation into living off more prana, believing more in the power of your mind and the power of the universe to help you, listening to the terrible things that your mind says that sabotage your good dreams, and listening to the true, real, sad feelings that you sometimes have that are your guidance system, and being willing to allow that guidance to be heard like a good parent would to a little child who says, I hate my school, I hate it, and every day I'm heartbroken. At first the parent says, well, you got to go for a while until you make friends. There's an adjustment period, and there's such a thing as just keeping that strength for the kid to get them to try something new. Because I know I didn't want to sing when I was little. My mom said, you have to try it, singing lessons for 2 whole weeks, and then you can quit. Of course, by the time I had done 2 whole weeks, I loved it, and it's been a huge path of mine in my life. But there's the other thing, when the little kid is talking and they're saying, you can see they're brokenhearted. It's a deeper sadness. It's something really being lost, something really going on at school that a really good parent will listen and sense. Which is it? Is it just the fearful self in the child shutting off their options, or is it the little child who's really needs them to say, yes, we need a new school for you. A new school of life sometimes, a new community experience. And sometimes you don't even have to move to have an all-new community experience in terms of the people you're focusing on, the people you turn towards. So here we go. I'm leaving for Costa Rica in a week. So this is my preparatory week. I'm in the cleansing my mind, cleansing my spirit, cleansing my body, preparing, lightening my expectations of myself, allowing. I have to have a lot of compassion with myself, because who knows? I don't know what it's going to be like. But I love you, and we're all here together, and this is an amazing journey. Imagine if it's true that we actually have a new capacity, or an ancient one waking up, that we don't have to eat food. We don't even have to have water, because all of the food is in the breath, is in the air, is in the trees. All of those dense molecules. This is Nassim Haramein's theory. He's like, every molecule that you're breathing, it has the eternity of all of the world's power, and it is in your cells. It's in everything's connected to everything. Everything's entangled with everything. So why would you have to eat that thing over there when you're already here in the same existence that's made of everything else? Ooh, drippy, drippy, ooh. Okay, much love, darling. Love life, love life. Scary to love it more. It's scary, ain't it?